What's up, everyone? So we are live. We are live. And what it comes down to, we're going to talk the power of six. Now, what I love about Rick doesn't know what we're talking about at all. But there's a book called Ready, Fire, Aim. And in life, that's what you need to do to get to where you want to go every single time. If you don't just, you have to be ready for something. So he knew we were going to be talking about the power of six, but that's all he knew. No context behind it. And that's what life is. And so before I get started with the people who are actually serious about listening to me for 25 to 30 minutes, there's going to be some people who just want to get to the point, who just like, okay, give me that thing that I need to make my life better. And they'll come when they need to come and realize it's deeper than that. But I'm going to start with one technique you can do to get rid of stress, because stress is a killer. It slows you down. It makes you think less critically. It messes you up. So this is the technique. It is called the box technique. And with the box technique, you're going to inhale for 3 seconds, hold that inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 3 seconds, and hold for another 3 seconds. So I'm going to do it with you. It's 2, 3. One more. Good stuff. All right. So for the people who wanted to get rid of stress, that gets rid of stress.
I was like gone in one breath, man. I was like, whoa, when I could finally catch up with you, it was like, oh, wow, man.
It's powerful stuff. It's powerful
Yeah.
stuff. What's up, Gemma and Facebook user? All right. So, people who want to take this serious, for the people who want to take it to the next level, for the people who really want to up their game, a tactic won't do it for you. All right. So, me and Rick were just talking about when my team comes after me, they tell me it's straight, because when it's told straight, things get done faster. What people want is they want to be coddled. They want comfortability. They do not want to be stressed. And I get it, because everyone's on different paths, everyone's on different journeys. But if you want to play a big game, and I'm talking about a big game, then you have to follow suit and be able to deal with stress, be able to deal with tension, be able to lead people. That is not an easy task. It is not. It's not for the soft. It's not for those who get offended easily. It's for people getting hated on for no reason. None. It's for people who can take a person's point of view, and even when their point of view is wrong, be okay with it. And really, really, truly be okay with it. And so I want to bring up one of my stories. I was pissed, right? Absolutely livid. And I responded in kind. I responded in kind. I was actually really impressed with the way that I did respond to it. So I sent out a positive message on my Instagram. And this was months down the line, because I don't throw people under the bus either. I don't think that's right to do. I don't think that's integrous. And so you guys wouldn't be able to check it even if you wanted to, which is good. But anyway, I'm on Instagram and I have a positive message. And one of my friends, one of my actual friends, comments, "Do you really think it's time to do anything inspirational when George Floyd just got his neck stomped on?" And so I was a little bit offended by that. for a couple reasons. One, I know he was coming from his perspective. And so he sees an inspirational post and then thinks whatever's going through his head, he's angry, he's hurt. But this is what irritated me. I've been a black man all of my life. And in no way, and here's the other thing. This friend of mine has my cell phone number. So he can't call me up, can't have a discussion with me, has to post on my feed. And I get it, and I bring this up because stress is a bitch. Stress makes us do the wrong thing. Stress messes us up. I'm sure he would take it back if he could. And I could have gone off the deep end. But what I did was I responded to him and I said, hey, I just talked about that yesterday. I literally had a discussion about it because he was bringing up the fact that I was just sweeping it under the rug. But again, it's a game of perception, and we can only see what we see. And so I reached out to him 5 times. Call me. And he just didn't have the time to do it. Didn't have the time to call me. And I bring this up because what we do is we think the most important thing is the thing that we're aware of at the moment we're aware of it. We oftentimes don't step back and look at a greater level of awareness. Look at the fact that this game is bigger than just me, than George Floyd, and than him. And all I ever try and do is come up with solutions. And one of the most powerful solutions that I know is if we love one another, we win. That's been my message since the get-go. If we love one another, we win. Love is the hardest fucking thing to do. It's hard. It's not easy. It's not, hey, let me just give you a hug and love you up. It's, let's talk about deep, dark shit. Let's make life tough. Let's get into the roots of it. Let's figure out why certain people are so angry and why others aren't. And so when I speak love, and I do speak love as, hey, let's love each other up. Let's have a smile. Let's go all in on the people that we care about. But when it's time to get to the roots, sometimes it's time to get to the roots. And you go back and forth and you have fun. I'm going to continue to say this because I think it's so important. Take what you do seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously. If you can do that more and more and more each day, you just get better. You get better at doing it. And when you get better at doing that, life's okay. Life's okay. And when life's okay for you, life tends to be okay for everybody else. Talk about the greatness within, unlocking your superpower. We're all gifted. We all have power. He will always be my friend. I live in an unconditional love space. That's my space. Some people have conditional love. There isn't a right or wrong. It's the game that you want to play. There's consequences to the game that you play. That's all it is. And so with everything that's going on, COVID and stress and freaking out and life being really, really hard, I want to give you a reminder. You're always stronger than you think. Our minds might not want to go to that place that it doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to go to that stressful place. But if we can breathe for a moment and we can calm ourselves down and we can get critical, we'll figure it out. We'll figure any tough situation out. And the truth is, we have to figure it out together. We have no choice. Because either we figure it out together or we destroy one another. Those are the options. I like the figuring it out together personally. So that's why my message is about bringing the light to other people and showing up fully for other people. We got some messages, Rick. It comes under trust, friendship, emotions. Absolutely, Gemma.
Rocking the house, man. Charles Butler is totally active. Gemma is in the house, right? I mean, DJ's in the house. Look, thank you for showing up. Power 6 is the real deal. Clifford Starks is the real deal. He's coming from the deepest place in his heart. You can't get this wrong. But he's speaking truth, and that's the hard part is you get up to the edge and you develop this inner circle of trust to where you can get up against the very edge, right, with the right people. And that is and we're all developing those inner circles where we can lean up against the edge and here what you're speaking of is your friend leaning up against the edge in a way that had consequences. It made you feel, and it made him feel a certain way. And what we're really talking about is bridging the gap of language and getting down to the heart of the matter. Really, what's your pain? I never really truly understand the depth of your pain, but look, let's find the sameness, the oneness in I don't understand it entirely. I can't say that I do, but I certainly want to seek to understand. And I think that's the place that, when we're coming from a place of really, I don't even want to say it's empathy. It's really a place of true curiosity. Of how did you show up here for me in this way? And oh, okay, I know that the world's for me because of your fighting background, because of your athleticism, right? Because of your mindset and your training. It's kind of it's almost like that. I don't know how you put it in boxing terms where you got this fake here, come get this one over here, and I'm gonna hit you with this one with my heart, because that's who that's really who you are. You got the deepest place in your heart. That's where you can hold the space. I appreciate our friendship because I can get up against that edge. And I know I can say things to you that they're on the edge, man. They're on the edge, but I'm coming from the deepest place of my heart, and you can receive it, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're in, but at that space, at that place where you're at 100% responsibility, where that your intentions will follow you. Look, not everybody's there.
People are at different places and different spaces. And it's something that I have to remind myself of at times too. Sometimes people will fire me up. I'm telling you, my friend fired me up. He really did. I was irritated by it because I'm like, he's not seeing my side even a little bit. He's going fully into his side, and it's but he's going in his side in a place of stress. And it is in a place of caring and loving. It is in those places. But we got to also be careful with what stress can do, and that's what I love about fighting so much, is because in fighting, the consequences are right there. You don't get the option to just be stressed or angry or just I'm going to, a professional fighter is a professional fighter. They are snipers. You know what I mean? They are on target. So you don't get the option to F around and Oh, well, I was just having an off day. Like, you have an off day and you're on the ground looking up like, crap, I screwed up. I got to learn.
I get to play with Steve and his boys tomorrow in Kali, and that's no joke. When you're, oh my God, dude, look, oh my God, look who's here,
You made it through.
hell yeah, come
You made it
on,
through.
man. Oh,
What's
hell
up, my
yeah.
brother?
Good morning. I'm still on Hawaii time. Sorry, I'm late. Let me
All good.
turn my
All
light
good.
on here.
I'm gonna read some of these. I gotta read Charles because Charles just hit.
I've been reading Charles's while I've been sitting in the waiting room here. So
It seems that for the world to be well, racism is something that should die, just like coronavirus. Loving your neighbor of all races, genders, and orientations is a best practice. Discrimination is just plain wrong. The world needs to come together now more than ever. Everyone inhuman and worthy of living without fear. Much love, Charles. I love what you say. I agree. Like it's all about just shining our lights the very best that we can consistently. And I look at the yin and yang of life, and even coronavirus, it's just doing what it does, just as racism will do what it does. And there's consequences to those things. There's consequences to those things. And we do our best to adjust, share the light, educate one another, be the best that we can be, and help one another grow together. A rising tide brings in all ships. So appreciate that.
Cliff, I was reading that, and you know what I think would be a little bit bold, but is to have a little discussion with you on racism.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those.
In the middle, by the way, you see this.
Right.
In center.
It's one of those taboo things that people, they want to be politically correct. They don't want to touch. But there's two sides to this coin, and I think a lot of people ignore one of the sides, and a lot of people are very empathetic with minorities to the point that they create other problems. And I think it's worth having a discussion because you and I have never talked about it, so I don't know your perspective on it. And to be honest, I want your perspective because when people are reasonable and rational, it's important to understand all sides. Right?
True.
Not when they're just emotional and they're just saying things because that's what they've heard for many years.
Yeah.
But somebody that probably has thought a lot about it and considered both sides, because I'm sure you have. I think that would be a very interesting discussion. Whether we do it live or record it and then put it out, I don't know.
I'm down. I like playing dirty. Yeah, I like playing dirty.
Happening right now.
And I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous because I don't know who's gonna think what.
Yeah.
And that's okay. This is my reality. This is the way that I see the world.
Right.
And so as I go through my journey, one thing that I saw pretty consistently is blacks would hang out with blacks.
Yep.
Whites would hang out with whites, and the Asians would hang out with Asians. And what I'm talking about ASU. I don't know if it's still that way. That's just what I saw pretty consistently.
Sure.
And I'm like, people tend to hang out with culturally the same. And it makes sense. It makes so much sense because when we're used to something, whether it's the way we look, the way we dress, the things we talk about, we get used to that thing, and used to that thing turns into an echo chamber. I really believe it turns into an echo chamber. I want to talk to people. Will see. I'll give you an example. I want to change 1 billion lives. I don't want to change 1 billion lives just for the sake of changing 1 billion lives. I want to change my life too. I want to see other people's perspectives. I want to learn as much as I can. Because the one thing that I know, I was actually gifted awareness. Like I was gifted an unnormal amount of awareness. And this is the one thing that I will say with that awareness. I know there's so much more that I don't know than that I do. Like so much, it's massive. It's a lot more that I don't know than that I do. And too often, everyone thinks they have the right answer and they're talking about an answer instead of acting on the answer. It's just like there were fighters who talked about fighting in the UFC all the time. Like, yeah, it's cool to talk about it. Anyone can talk about things all day long. But go have a discussion, go get on live and talk about this stuff. Bring it up and see what people say. See if people say like, "Oh, Cliff, you're dead wrong," or "Wow, that makes a lot of sense." And the one thing that I saw pretty consistently, I'm like, "Holy crap, they're all having different discussions, but they all want the same thing. Like everyone wants the same thing. We're all on each other's side, more so than we're not.
Right.
We're like moving in the right direction, but instead of seeing the rightness of what's going on, we want to talk about like what's shitty. And it's cool and it's important. Like you're supposed to talk about that. But if I shared a video of a cop doing something for someone just to see one like, and it was another cop. Like no one liked it. Then another person on Messenger shares with me a cop shooting a handicapped person. And it's like, it shows this big long text of cop shoots handicapped person, unarmed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, that doesn't seem right. Like it could be, I don't know. Let me do some research. I research it. It's completely fabricated.
Yeah.
Like it was a guy, he had the gun. The cop was like, put it down, sir. Put it down, sir. I will shoot. Like there's video footage of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I find that out, I talked to the person who sent it to me a messenger. I'm like, oh, this is actually incorrect. This isn't what happened. What actually happened was this. And I showed the video and everything. And she comes back with, oh, normally I don't share those things. The game's hard. It's messy and it's hard.
Yeah, we're to a point where people want to see the negative. They want to see the division in a way. And so as soon as they see it on social media, they believe it because they want to believe it to some extent. They don't have this, hey, I don't believe everybody or the majority of people are good and the majority of people are not racist. They want to pick out the negative stuff. I've got a couple studies, and I don't know scientifically how this all works out. Whether it's a cultural thing, whether it's a hardwired thing, because I have my opinion on both. But an interesting story, as Rick knows, I have a bunch of chickens running around my house, right? I have about 20 chickens running around, and there's, I think, about 3 different breeds within those chickens.
Yeah.
And chickens, I don't know, we don't have mirrors out in our yard.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is they divide themselves amongst the breeds. It's really strange. And so I'm looking at that going, is there something hardwired, obviously within the chickens, but even with human beings? That I don't know. What I do know is human beings have the ability to think and observe and modify their behavior, even if it's hardwired, right?
I agree. Yeah, 100% agree.
But we have to acknowledge and accept the fact that some people may just be kind of hardwired for that. And it could also be because of the comfort, like you said. But back to my point of people wanting to look at racism and call it, I don't want to say that it's not negative, but pick it out as if it's the end of their world, or see everybody's all, white people are horrible. I didn't grow up in a racist family, or I grew up out in Long Beach, Washington. We had maybe a couple minorities. I remember when at the end of the Vietnamese were being brought over and everybody was housing the little Vietnamese. And I remember them coming into our schools, and they were obviously a big cultural shock to people, but everybody was like friendly and welcoming and taking care of them. So I didn't grow up with any idea of racism. If I saw somebody that was black, it'd be like, well, yeah, that's unusual because we don't have many of them here. But there was never a negative or a thought that, hey, these are bad people.
Yeah.
I joined the military, and that was a huge culture shock because the ratio of white and black changed dramatically. And I remember I was in a NCO leadership school in South Korea. And so you're there for, I think it was 60 days or something like that. And it was a weekend. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go down to the basketball court. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shoot some hoops and maybe play a pickup game and everything. And so I go down to the court. I was the only white guy on the court. Not unusual to me at all, because I came from like a collegiate background level. I had just left a school where I was MVP, co-captain of a very successful college team. And so I'm down there playing, and they're picking teams. Guess who was the very last person picked?
Oh yeah, I already know.
Me, you know, and I kind of had fun with it, because I did the white men can't jump warm up and all that, and looked like a dork, right? And I in my mind I'm kind of chuckling, because I know how this is going to work out. And then so we played our first game, and then guess who was the very first one picked? I was picked. From then on out, I was the first one picked on the team. And but I look back at that, and I think, you know what? I could have taken it as a big personal offense. You know, they're racist against me, right? Yeah. And if it was flipped in this culture nowadays, that person, if I was black and all the others were white, that person may have taken it that way and gone, "Hey, this is bullshit, man. Well, I'm picked only because of the color of my skin." Yeah. And I looked at it and go, well, of course they're going to pick the short white guy last. That's just common sense. It's not racism. It's common sense. Yeah. But I look at that and I go, these guys were not racist. They weren't racist. Did they pick me last because of the color of my skin? Absolutely. No doubt. But it wasn't a racist decision. It was just a logical decision. So I think sometimes things are done which, and again, I'm not speaking for everybody, but, and I'm not also ruling out the fact that there exists racism. There are some shitheads out there that are like that, right? But some decisions are made based on a logical decision, a rational decision. And if color of the skin may have an effect on that, but that doesn't mean they're picking them because they think worse of that person. You know, they think they're less of a human being. And I think that's where a lot of people tend to make mistakes with that, and that's what creates the division. So it's a two-sided coin. It's how it is the person that's making the decision, but also the one that's on the other end. What's really happening? Is it cultural racism and it's permeated throughout, and all white people are racist? No, I don't believe in that at all. I do believe there are, like I said, some shitheads out there that they see a black person, they think they're less than a human. I totally understand that. Just like I know there's black people out there that see white people and think we're horrible.
Yeah.
You know? That just kills me. Like when I hear that, though, it just shatters my heart. It crushes me. I come from some completely different perspective. Like growing up in San Diego, I was a minority in every single school I went to. So you know, the integration process for me, like getting to school, I had to go through the black neighborhood, I had to go through the Vietnamese neighborhood, or I had to go through the Mexican neighborhood to get to school, right? So I knew one way or not, man, I mean, there's conflict, and it wasn't the conflict that it's the fear of the unknown. It is the fear of the unknown. I mean, I remember stepping into junior high, Montgomery Elementary School, and, you know, I'm standing in back of a group of Asian, I believe they were Vietnamese, and I asked a question and I got my butt kicked. Like everybody they're doing backflips into my head. I'm like, whoa, what the heck? And, you know, I'm getting chased down by the big Mexican dude. And I mean, it wasn't until I actually faced the guy and stopped and turned around and said, why are you chasing me? Why do you want to make me afraid? You know, I mean, why? And he was like, oh, you're actually a human being. Yeah. You know, the people that have been in my court, but the language that I used internally would be considered derogatory, right? Because it was all slang, and we use it's like I don't speak Spanish, I speak Spanglish, you know, because my family is Hispanic. I have a lot of Hispanic family. I have Filipino in my family. I have black in my family. Like, they're all my family. And
Agree.
And so to get to that place, like where you're seeing something less than, and you cringe, and yeah, you call it out if you see it, just like, hey, that. And so that's where that anger and that angst comes in, is like, look, I know I don't want any more of this in my life. I don't want to experience this. And you know what? It's not healthy for you to experience this either. But how do you bring people to that light, except through being it? And in times like with you have the ability to take it head on.
Yeah.
Right. To take some of these things head on. And,
if I could, I think, so if we want to talk about solutions or strategies, I think what Clifford was talking, what you both are talking about is how we deal with it. And this doesn't have to just be racism. It could be negative thoughts. It could be any kind of thing, confrontation. It's how we deal with it that makes the big difference, because all we can do is change ourselves and change our responses. Okay. Yeah. If somebody's acting racist and I meet them head on, like going back to Dusty's verbal Aikido, if I just start throwing punches at this guy, the end result's going to be conflict no matter what. Right. But if I parry it a little bit and change the way I react. One more example, in South Korea, a lot of times the older Korean guys didn't really care for the American military because they acted like a bunch of assholes as they went to the bars and all that kind of stuff. Right. And I was walking home, not home, but to the base late at night. And an old Korean guy was crossing this bridge and just started yelling at me and cussing at me. He was a little bit drunk, obviously. And most of unfortunately, the military guys would respond by saying something nasty back or whatever, or just ignoring them as a person. I stayed in Korea a little bit longer than most military guys. I went and took a college language course, Korean language course. So as he was cussing at me, I just greeted him and said hello in Korean. And you could see this person's demeanor completely change, smiling, friendly. It was amazing, but it was my response that made the difference, not the person that was being hostile. And I think if we treat racism and other things the same way, is change the way you look at it. Don't look at it as, hey, I got to go to war and defend myself. Yeah. Show them something different. Yeah. Show them something different than what they may believe, and that will help change their mind.
And I think that's so powerful. Because I look at my Power of Six principles, and the 6 principles, it's like I run through those principles every time. And I've gotten so, I didn't even realize I was running through them when I first started the process of selling it to people. You know what I mean? I was just like, okay, well, what am I selling to people exactly? And as an entrepreneur and a businessman, it helped me actually clarify it and say, this is the gift that I'm giving you, because that gift is the ability to speak with people, the ability to empathize with people, the ability to love other people, the ability to see their reality and respect their reality. Because when you respect their reality, they're way more inclined to respect your reality. It's not you respect all the things that they do. It's just saying, I see you as a human being. When Rick turned around, holy crap, I see him as human again. And the thing is, we're so fucking amazing. I don't think there's any other way that I can put it, because not only should we see ourselves as human, but what about other animals? What about the trees? What about everything else? I'm going really deep into this. We fight on shallow shit. Oh, you made me feel bad about myself. And I get it, because I gotta lead. I didn't know I was a leader. For the longest time, I was like, I'm not a leader. I'm just a guy who's going to do things my way. That's it. I'm just a guy who's going to do things my way. And I think people should love one another. That's it. And then my story unfolded more and more and more. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm a leader, because I'm going to show up the way I'm going to show up. I'm going to take the action. And when I make a mistake, I'm just going to say, I screwed that one up. And when I do really well, I'm going to give it to my team. I didn't know that
Yep.
was what was. I just thought that's what good people did. I'm like, oh yeah, good people are supposed to do that. And there
Yeah,
was a
what-
saying. There was a
Oh, go ahead.
saying. It's blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. And some people's, and we can see it however we want. This is how I see it, and I really love this saying by this scholar who said it. But blood is thicker than water isn't family. I had a family member drive away from me who was supposed to be there for me, who was supposed to protect me. And then my non-biological dad was my dad because he showed up as a dad. That's what he did. So he was my dad. Blood is thicker than water means the water of the womb is not as thick as the blood, sweat, and tears that you go through with your team, with your people. Because when you go through things together, it just strengthens the bond. Just strengthens the bond. And we're all going through it together. So seeing coronavirus or racism as a bad thing could be, but it's also saying, yeah, we're all in this together, whether we like it or not. And so we get to choose, like, are we going to show up strong and do what we need to do and talk about things we don't really want to talk about and unhash things we don't want to unhash? Or are we just going to put our tail between our legs and let the world crumble?
You just kick the can down the road all the time, you know. I mean, most people are just kicking the can, you know. Just push it down the road, push it down the road. The reality is everybody's doing the best they can with what they have in the moment. And when you see them showing up that way, you give them permission to be. Look, you can't change this by yourself, you know.
Not possible. Not possible.
Not possible. This doesn't happen in a vacuum, you know. I appreciate you, Clifford. We can go to the mat.
Yeah.
You know, we can go to the mat. We can go to the edge and really uncover. The thing is there's new layers every day, right? Mm-hmm. We don't know what we don't know. But when you're inside that inner circle, you can really lean up against the ones that you've entrusted. You can trust yourself that you've surrounded yourself with those people.
Absolutely.
And I again, it's a heavy topic in the world. It's not so heavy in my heart because I'm not living it I'm not experiencing it every day. My focus isn't on those things. I think much of what, you know, focusing on what we want to experience is really the answer. You know, if we put our energy there.
Real quick, thank you, Rutzel. Thank you, Gemma. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Desert DJ.
Oh yeah.
We've had 4 to 5 people consistently with us because I think like us unloading these topics, and I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you off, Rick.
Oh, you're good, brother.
But just us opening them up, like sometimes that's the start. You know, that's the start. Like if I've never farmed before, but tell me how close I am on this, you got to kind of toe that dirt. You got to open that dirt up and you got to move it around. Am I correct? Or am I completely
you got to hoe your field, man. You got to hoe it hard. Get that hoe in there, work that dirt, baby. Come on. Yeah. Seriously, you do. You got to work.
Yeah, I thought so. Because I look at
I call it a hoe. You got to hoe that thing.
With wrestling, our skin literally gets tougher just from being on the mat. It's the mat time. And we start getting tougher, we get stronger, it's a cool transformation that you're going through. And life's about transformation. And sometimes we think that this transformation should be this easy thing where I just come out and the world's just working for me. And no, that's the last thing that it does. You know, the best people who change the fastest are people who go through that grind and go through that meat grinder of life. Like there was one fighter, and I'm going to talk about Mike Tyson later, but there was one fighter who people just didn't like him. They didn't like him. He was cocky. He was arrogant. And I admit he showed up cocky and he showed up arrogant. But eventually he changed. But the funny thing is, it takes people's mind time to catch up to the reality, to the new reality. You know, I saw his new reality. I saw like, oh, he's showing up differently. But I was like, holy crap, I have to communicate it to people to show that he's showing up differently. And that I didn't realize I had a high level of awareness. And some people are going to be like, who do you think you are? I compare it to like, there's some people who can sprint fast, some people who can jump high, some people who can squat heavier than others. There's different levels of awareness. There just is. Like as a personal trainer, I really learned like some people are way more aware than other people. Some people are, and it's not right or wrong. You know, everything has its strengths and its gifts and its abilities. But the best thing a person can do is say, okay, I know there's way more that I don't know than that I do. And then follow the breadcrumbs. Because just like anything else, just like running faster or jumping higher, you can practice it. You can get better at it. You can achieve more with it. And yeah, going through the journey, I'm very thankful for both of you. I'm thankful for those who are sitting here watching us and supporting us. And I didn't know it was going to turn into this. You know, I thought my mission was my mission. You know, I thought it was Clifford Starks. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go make it happen. I'm going to go change the world, baby. And so that was my limited awareness. You know, even I have like moments of opening up my awareness, and I'm consistently opening it up. And I know I'm going to open it up even more, and I'm going to keep stretching on the journey. But I'm like, holy crap, I can't do it all by myself. Nope. Holy crap, I need a lever. Holy crap, I need a team. Holy crap, I need and you just keep going, and you keep stumbling, falling, getting back up, doing the best that you can. And Rick, just like you said, we're all doing the best that we can. And that's how I'm able to show up as empathetic as I can and give as much space as I can, because I do know people are showing up in the reality that they're used to showing up in. And they won't understand me unless I understand them.
You ever watch Cesar Millan?
Yes, that guy is amazing.
Love that guy. And so an analogy I was just imagining as you're talking is dogs are a dog, like humans are humans, but dogs are all different breeds. And I would say that humans are all different breeds as well, all different colors, different shapes, sizes, different abilities, and so forth. And what I love about his show is he takes his pack, and little by little, his pack is very organized, synchronistic. They mingle together in huge numbers and are very content. And then he'll bring another dog with probably maybe some faulty perspective, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, that has a bad background, and introduce that dog to the pack. And the pack just keeps acting like the pack. They don't accept the poor behavior by the dog. They'll correct the poor behavior, but they show that other perspective of, hey, this is how life is for you if you behave normally, and you get rid of all of those other bad layers. And I look at what we're doing, like for you, if Cesar Millan brought one dog into another dog, there could be a confrontation there, right? It's hard for the single dog to fix the other dog. But you bring them into a pack of everybody acting the same, and that dog can see it and go, oh, I can emulate this. And I look at what we're doing is we're a pack.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
we're having these discussions that other people would fight about, but we're all open-minded. We're all we mean well. We mean the best when we have these discussions and try to understand. And that's how the pack behaves. And that's what, you know, Rick talks about, coming into a safe place with Pono Quest and everything. It's like, join the pack.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so awesome. And I love that analogy, Steve. And Rick said a couple things that have really stuck with me. Like he talks about being safe in your sandbox, not getting hit by a dump truck. And it was different for me, because in my life, I'd been trained to get hit by dump trucks. Like, I mean, we're trained to go to war. Like, we're trained to go to war. And what was really interesting on my journey, Me going to war didn't have to make me any less kind than I was. Like I didn't have to lose my humanity knowing that I was going to war because there was still some integrity within we're both signing a contract. We're both signing a contract with agreed rules and agreed circumstances and a referee to watch over us. Other than that, I've never been in a fight in my life. And yeah, I could probably kill most people. But with that, it's you don't have to be mean or menacing, but build your strength. Always build your strength because just like the pack, it has to correct. It has to correct things. And I dealt with this is an interesting story. One of my friend brought one of his guys to the gym. And he started bullying one of my teammates, like just like beating the crap out of him. I'm like, what the? So I'm like, hey, you want to spar? Because you don't beat the crap out of my teammate and just get away with it. It just doesn't happen. And I really like, he was so angry. I wasn't even beating him up. He's beating himself up. He's like running into my punches. And I'm just little counters here and there. And I go, man, why are you so angry? And he just goes off. And he starts talking about some deep, dark stuff. And out of respect for him, I'm not going to bring it up. But first I looked at my friend and I'm like, did you know all of this? And he gives me like the look like I didn't know. And then I talked to him. I'm like, look, man, I get it. You got your demons that you're dealing with. In a little bit, baby boy. You got your demons that you're dealing with, but you can't take your demons out on other people. And me and him, we became really close after that. And he changed his life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like transformation changes a person's life. It literally, they start seeing the world differently. And when they start seeing the world differently, they start feeling differently. When they start feeling differently, they act differently. And act doesn't mean like, I'm just going to act this way. No, they go seek the help that they need to get because they believe there's a solution now. And when they believe there's a solution, they go look for the solution. It was the most powerful, impactful thing that I saw. And I'm like, wow, you don't know how you can change a person's life.
Well, you were able to go to the edge with him. Okay. I mean, look, you went to the edge into the mat and he like, wow. And you drew it out of him, but that was where he needed to be. Again, you're unlike anyone else, the majority of the people in the world. That's why, like I said, that's that, oh, hey, look over here. Bam, I could kill you, but I'm going to just love up on you. And I love that about you, Clifford Starks. Thanks for being my friend. Yeah. Thanks for keeping it real and bringing it home and going to the edge. The safe sandbox is real. Yeah. You know, the safe sandbox is real. And I know that was a mindset that you'd had and it carried you through and it worked for you. And you now know what you didn't know then. Yeah. And these safe sandboxes are real for you to come and play with. And we just want to invite you to come into Pono Quest and make that your safe sandbox to play in and connect with the pros, connect with the Pono pros. Everybody here is being that. Yeah. Is being that. You can't get this wrong. Clifford Starks is leading the way with the power of 6. I'm thankful for our community. You know, we are keeping each other in alignment. We are pointing one another in the direction that we want to experience by being that. Yeah. And Clifford Starks, you're Pono, bro. I love it.
Hey, Rick, I know you're wrapping this up, and I don't want to extend it, but I did want to make one observation, if I could, with Clifford. With Clifford's, what some people, what made you be able to handle the fighting ring maybe better than others is you realize it was a game. It had rules. It had a referee. You were there by agreement. It was not a fight for your life. Now, you may have used different tactics to get you to perform better by making a comparison to, hey, I'm fighting for my family or whatever. But overall, you understood, I'm not fighting for my life. I don't need to go to that level. I don't need to punch the guy in the throat and kill him, because this is just a game. And I think what people have a hard time realizing on a day-to-day basis, even when they're driving down the road and someone cuts them off, their reaction is if they're fighting for their life. They're being defensive and angry because, okay, I've been wounded and this is just horrible. And they don't realize, you know what? It's all a big game. We're not, in our culture right now, we're not fighting for our life on a day-to-day basis. Our food is in the refrigerator. Most of us, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Why are we reacting like that? And I think when people start to bring that level of emotion down, then it's going to be much easier for them. And to the point of whether it's racism, whether it's somebody with a bad attitude, this good versus bad, sometimes we need that bad so we can practice our skills on how to deal with that, or what we perceive to be bad, because that's what changes us.
So true. And I want to say thank you, Rick. Thank you for showing up the way you always do. We came in this completely authentic, and we didn't know where it was going. We knew we were going to talk a little bit about the Power of Six. And then Steve, thank you for bringing up a very uncomfortable topic. You know, it was a very uncomfortable topic because when he brought it up, I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens. And it went where it needed to go, you know? And I want to thank Gemma's a superstar. Gemma's all about autism. She's autistic herself, and she stands for those who are autistic, you know? And Rutzel has a personal development channel as well, and he's shining his light as well. And he gives people amazing tips and strategies to move forward on their journey.
Is Russell the one that has the trending topics?
He's trending topic. Yeah, he's trending.
All right, hey Russell.
Yeah,
cool.
And so I look at this, and I know that everyone here, they're a fighter. You know, there's a fighter in them. We're doing it for something bigger. We're doing it for something more. And that's what the fight is. So I had to go into fighting at the highest level just to experience it, just to see what it was and see what it felt like and understand and take on new lessons and learnings. And so as I go through this, you know, I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all because, yeah, we're going to go to the edge. You know, I talk about getting your competitive edge, and getting your competitive edge at the end of the day is jumping into the deep end. It's not, oh man, I just need to feel, I don't want to feel stress. No, it's you jump into the deep end so much, things don't stress you out. Like you don't get stressed. You're on game all the time because everyone else is playing at a lower level, and that's okay. It's not a judgment on them. It's just to say, I want to play a bigger game because it's fun. So appreciate you all, and we keep moving forward. You guys have any last thoughts?
And again, I don't want to plug Pono Quest on your thing too much, but I see that you have some amazing people on that are following you, and it looks that they have some skills. I see Charles does physical, verbal, social, and cyberbullying. If people,
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Charles Butler,
people have.
Nice, Charles. I don't know Charles, so
I do. Charles Butler, I follow from Mike Chavez from Live Masters. Charles Butler has been part of my life now for a few years. I've been paying attention. He actually has a how do you say it? He has a business down in San Diego or down in Southern California that it's like a call center. So he manages and he owns and he runs call centers for that's his business. That's what he does. He also has a nonprofit. Okay. So he does a lot of different things. He's very much self-aware, beautiful human
Charles,
being.
I'd love to get to know you. Yeah, reach out. I'd love to connect.
And just to finish my thought, that's what the Pono Academy is about. That's what our portal is about, is for people to share their experience and their expertise in the form of mini courses, whether it's a free course or a gift or a paid course. If they're trying to build a business, that's what we do. And so we'd love to have people that have a little niche they're able to help people through this this media. Get in touch with Clifford. He can tell you how to do it. That's what he's doing. That, yeah, contribute.
And Gemma has Happy World Autism Week next week. That's awesome, Gemma. Looking forward to that. And Charles, thank you for your time. You know, it's funny because as coaches, we get paid to coach, and I look at the money as being nothing more than energy, like it's a form of energy. And the cool thing is a really good coach, like the best coaches, not only help their client through their process, they actually take on lessons from their client. So a coach is always ever expanding. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Charles, I look forward to getting to know you because I don't know you that. I really don't know you. As Rick and Steve both know, I'm pretty authentic, so I just say what is on my mind and what I'm thinking. Gemma and Russell, I know them, so I can shout them out. But Charles, Rick gave you a shout out, and if Rick vouches for you, then I'll vouch for you too, because I respect Rick's opinion.
You can close us out.
Let's keep being amazing. Let's keep doing what we need to do. I'm probably always going to start it off that way. So this is the way I started it off, Steve, was basically I went through a quick strategy, a quick tip that people could take with them to get through whatever they need to get through. So for the Power of Six, it was, all right, you're dealing with stress. This is what you do to get rid of stress. And then after that, I open it up and we go deep. We go deep into what we need to go deep into, and we have fun. And the people who really want to take it seriously, and again, everyone's at different places and different stages. A 20-year-old who wants to be less stressed can take that with them on their journey. And when they get older, they'll come back to the longer stuff. But yeah, that's the format that I was going to put it on.
That's it. And I'd like to invite everybody to be a part of our pack.
Absolutely. PonoQuest.com. You can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see y'all on the inside.
Y'all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone.
Aloha.